weeks. Days after beating Hillary Clinton in Wisconsin, he got slammed for his comments on gun control. Hillary's camp says he's not qualified to lead, and now he's got to sit with us. Relax, Bernie, baby. You know how we love you. Please welcome back to The View, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Smaller, but it's great. Thank you.
You're playing Simon and Garfunkel's America, I believe. One of your campaign songs?
Yep.
That's good. You know, I have to tell you, I am happy that you won huge in Wisconsin. The last 6 out of 7 caucuses and primaries, right? You won 6 out of 7.
Won 6 out of the last caucuses and primaries.
Very good. I'm happy for you. What I'm not happy about is that the Democrats, you and Hillary, have taken a turn that I don't like. It's like you're starting to turn on each other like the Republicans. I liked it that you were such a gentleman, such a mensch, and she was even being ladylike about it. I loved that. And now don't go down to their level.
Okay, fair, good point.
Yeah.
And I hope that stops. I think the people of this country understand we have some enormous crises, and they want the candidates to deal with these crises. And certainly they do not want to have us act like Republicans who are an embarrassment to this entire country in terms of how they are running their campaign. So all I will say in defense, and I hope we can get beyond this, is we have won 6 out of the last 7 caucuses and primaries. My perception is, and I think it is clear, that the Clinton campaign has made a decision, especially here in New York, to get a little bit rough with us. And I just wanted to make it clear to the Clinton people, yes, I come from a nice little state of Vermont, but if we're hit, we can hit back. And I'm not going to be...
So what would you say to Hillary and a lot of the other people who are still questioning if you're a Democrat?
Well, I have been in the Democratic caucus in the House of Representatives for 16 years. I've been in the Democratic caucus in the Senate for 9 years. I was chairman appointed by the Democratic Party in the Senate, chairman of the Veterans Committee for 2 years. I am now the ranking member, leader of the opposition, elected by Democrats on the Budget Committee. I think after 25 years in the Democratic caucus, that makes me, you know, a Democrat. On the other hand, I freely... But here's the point, too. I am the longest serving independent in the history of the United States Congress. And for Democrats to win elections, you know what? You need independents, too.
You do.
And by the way, you'll need some Republicans, too. So I'm not embarrassed that we're getting support across the board.
Right. You talked a minute ago, if you're hit, you're going to hit back. So I don't know if that was what the comment you talked about Hillary not being qualified to be president. But she's been Secretary of State, First Lady, Senator. What exactly did you mean?
What I meant by this, and again, this was a response to attacks against me for not being qualified. What I meant by this is certainly, does she have the experience? Obviously she does. She was Secretary of State, a U.S. Senator. I thought an outstanding First Lady in many respects, breaking the mold. But what I meant by that, what I thought I made clear, is you call into question the judgment of somebody, I believe, who voted for the war in Iraq, which turns out to be one of the more disastrous foreign policy blunders in our history.
But she regrets that, doesn't she?
Yes, but but here's the point too, and she regrets a lot of things. And I think, and I don't mean, and in saying that, I don't mean to be sarcastic. We all make mistakes. But I regret less than she does because I had the courage to vote the right way, even when it was not necessarily popular. She regrets in 1996, give you an example, I had to cast a very difficult vote, a very unpopular vote. It wasn't easy. And that was the so-called Defense of Marriage Act. Do you remember what that is? So-called DOMA.
Right.
And what DOMA was about was the saying that if somebody got married, a gay couple got married in a state, they would not be able to get federal benefits. They could not take that marriage to another state. Well, think back, in 1996, respect for gay rights was not then what it is today.
Within reason, because everything's going down over there in the South.
No,
Many things.
That's
There's a lot of
another
things
thing. All
going
right.
wrong right now.
But that was a tough vote. And, Secretary Clinton supported DOMA. Her husband supported DOMA, signed the bill, as a matter of fact. I stood out against that. So the point is, it's sometimes you got to stand up even when it is not necessarily popular.
How are you gonna...
And I think in issues like Wall Street deregulation, the war in Iraq, environmental issues, I was there even when the going was tough.
What would you say to all those states that, that state that passed that crazy anti-gay law and all of the other states that are going against the progression of the LGBT community now? What would you say to them?
Well, not only what I would say, as President of the United States, I would do everything I can to overturn these outrageous decisions by Mississippi, North Carolina, etc. We have gone too far as a nation. God knows we have seen so much discrimination in our history, right? Against the African American community, against Latinos, against the Irish, the Italians, the Jews. What we are trying to do is say, you have your political views, that's fine. But I hope we remember what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. told us, and that is you judge people on their character, not on the color of their skin, and I would add to, not on their gender or their sexual orientation. So.
You were here, I pressed you on your gun position,
yeah.
And I'm going to do it again. And that's because you said that the families who lost loved ones in the Sandy Hook school shooting should not be allowed to sue the gun manufacturers. You've always been about whatever it takes. Just one second, though. You've always talked about increasing corporate responsibility. Then why don't you hold gun manufacturers responsible for...
Good, fair question. But what you quoted is not exactly what I said. People have a right in this country to bring lawsuits wherever they want, and that's certainly in the case of anybody. Here is the issue. I come, for example, give you an example. I come from a small state. You own a gun shop. She goes in, goes through the instant background check, legally purchases a gun. You sell her that gun. She flips out or does whatever. She goes out and she kills 3 people. Should you be held liable for selling her that weapon legally? No. I don't think so. No. I honestly don't think so.
But, Senator, you supported almost a blanket immunity for gun manufacturers. What other industry allows that kind of blanket immunity when children are hurt?
In the bill that I supported, there was also language that banned ammunition that could kill police officers who had body armor. There was also language in it that had safety locks to prevent children from killing each other or themselves. What I have said is that I am absolutely willing to relook that bill so that where we do not give them immunity is if you are a manufacturer and you are selling guns into a community and the word is out, we have information that those guns are going to criminals, you know what? You should know that.
Was your support of that bill a mistake?
That bill had some good provisions in it. It had some bad provisions in it.
All right. We have to take a break. We love having you. Stay with us. We'll have more with Senator Bernie Sanders right after this. Bernie Sanders. Senator, you wanted to clarify something?
Just on the gun issue, I hope people don't forget that I have a D- voting record from the NRA and probably lost an election way back in 1988 in Vermont because I said I think these assault weapons should not be sold or distributed in the United States of America. That's
it's so interesting to me to have a Jewish guy running for president. I like it. It's like Cruz is eating matzah up in the Bronx now. You're meeting with the Pope. Pope Francis has invited Bernie to visit in the Vatican. What is it that you two have in common exactly?
We have a lot in common.
Tell me.
And let me be very clear. You know, obviously I have disagreements with the Pope and the Church regarding a woman's right to choose and gay marriage and so forth. But this Pope has been unbelievable in he's so different, in raising consciousness about dealing with trying to create an economy that has moral values. And he has, around the world, said we cannot forget what he calls the dispossessed. That means the unemployed, the elderly people who are alone and without income,
Right.
the children. And he is trying to say, how can we create an economy which is moral, not an economy which so few have so much and so many have so little.
So I would assume that you think trickle-down economics is immoral.
I
Yes?
surely do, and so does the Pope, and the Pope has been very explicit about it. He does not believe that giving tax breaks to billionaires or large corporations creates a better life for ordinary people. And the other thing that he says, which is really radical, he says we have got to stop this idolatry and worship of money for the sake of money.
Yes.
We
Oh, my
can't
goodness.
worship.
The love of money.
We can't just worship the billionaires out there. We have got to pay attention as to how the economy works for the children. And in our country, we should not have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country.
It's too ingrained in human psyche about having more than the next person. That's so hard to get rid of
The
to
love
me.
of money. Raven and I were talking with you in commercial break. How are you going to do this? You need 73% of the remaining delegates, and I know your campaign manager went on record saying that if Hillary doesn't reach the majority, then you will 100% absolutely challenge her for the nomination. You've seen what this is doing to the GOP, a possible open convention. Are you willing to risk that with your own
I
party?
don't want to get into all of the details. We hope to have a majority as we go into Philadelphia for the convention. But I think what Democrats are also seeing, and if you look at the polling out there, poll after poll shows us as a much stronger candidate against Trump and the other Republicans. We beat Trump, I think, in the last CNN poll by 20 points.
Do you think he's going to be the nominee?
Hard to say. Maybe, maybe not. They may end up with a brokered convention and somebody else gets the nominee. But at the end of the day, I say this, you know, without trying, without hubris here. I think I am the strongest candidate, and one of the reasons is. And one of the reasons is I think we will obviously have overwhelming Democratic support, but I think we're also doing well with independents and occasionally some Republicans. So I'm fairly confident that if I am the nominee, not only will we beat the Republican candidate, we'll beat him by a pretty large margin.
Okay, I know you love to talk about policy and record, but we're going to ask you some personal questions.
So
Raven
the
wants to-
first one.
I've got to go.
So the first one is, who's your favorite fictional president?
I like the West Wing. All remember the West Wing?
Oh, yes.
Martin Sheen, I think. And I thought that was actually fairly reflective of what really does go on in the White House.
I have two more. Celebrity crush.
Celebrity.
It's on the paper. It's on the paper.
Joy.
We asked.
We are going to be hearing about this at every single morning meeting next week. or the
Where's
week
Jane?
after.
Where's Jane?
Speaking of his wife, you're with her 24/7, 27 years. What would she say? Oh my word! What would she say is your most annoying habit?
She would probably say, Bertie, stop working. Give it a break. Take some time off. Spend more time with the grandchildren. That's what she would say.
Well, you're not going to spend more time with the grandchildren if you're president, Bernie.
They'll-
Well,
He'll
actually,
visit you.
He'll go.
actually, the kids are already planning to move in. And I'll tell you something. I am very blessed with 7 beautiful grandchildren, 4 kids. They are the love of my life. And you know that bumper sticker? I saw this bumper sticker, and it said, if I knew how much fun grandchildren are, I would have had them first. That was, it's true.
Well, you're a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. We don't agree on a lot. I'm a libertarian. I'm a small government gal. But you and Hillary both, this week, for two people so well-versed in New York, you had some trouble on the subway.
Yes.
I hear. Hillary Clinton had a hard time with her Metro card. You can see she couldn't get through. And then you were talking about tokens, which I haven't seen in some time. So, Bernie, we have something for you.
Okay.
We have a Metro card.
What is this?
Ask Hillary how to use it.
Exactly. I gotta stick up for Bernie because that told me that you are a real New Yorker, because real New Yorkers use the tokens. I used to use a token to go to high school on the subway.
Yeah, but to ask you if you're a real New Yorker, we've got one more question for you. I know this irked a lot of people when John Kasich came to town. Even our own mayor, Bill de Blasio, eats his pizza with a fork and a knife.
What's the matter with that, Bernie? Bernie, I think we might have a problem right now, Bernie. I'm from LA, and you can have a fork and knife on a pizza.
Let's
See,
see
that's
how
these
it's done.
California people.
Can we see how
I
it's
tell
done?
you, we've always known how weird
Here
these
we go.
California people are.
Bernie,
No.
we're going to give you a chance to eat it like a real New Yorker.
I don't see anything wrong with a fork and knife if you have a germaphobe moment. You don't want what?
This is a lot to eat. I
Wash
have
your
to tell you
hands,
this.
people.
Would you like a slice, Senator? Now show us how it's done,
Yes.
please.
Do it right.
That looks so
I can feel
Come
it.
on.
Are you all ready?
Yes, fold it.
That's it.
There is no sorry, California, no debate on this one.
Come on. Not in my diet.
Oh, please. Well, anyway, we loved having you here yet again. Good luck to you, Senator. Hope you'll come back before the election.
And
Will you?
I absolutely will, of course. If you invite me, I won't.
We always invite you. Thanks to Senator Bernie Sanders, and we'll be right back with more Hot Topics.